Okay, so with these controls for an Xbox controller for DayZ on PC, most of the basic controls for just running around, driving, shooting, that is all the same as console, exactly the same, but there's no radial menu added in for the hotbar like on console. So I have it set so that you hold right bumper, and it looks kind of silly to lean whenever you do it, but it ain't too big of a deal. Uh, the D-pad is 1 through 4. Unfortunately, with the Xbox controller, that's as much as I could get mapped for the hotbar. So your four most important things on there, and by the default, because the game has like kind of controller support put in, but not really. And the way that it is by default, when you would your left bumper is your lean left and your free look. So before, when you would aim and do that, you couldn't turn. So I added a action layer so that when you're holding the left trigger, the left bumper doesn't free look anymore. So you can't free look while ADSing, but that's not something that I ever really do anyway, so it wasn't a big deal to me. Uh, let's see, what else did I change? Oh yeah, inventory. So normal controls have an action set layer for inventory. As soon as you bring that up, the right stick becomes your mouse. Right trigger is your click, so you can drag and drop stuff. The left bumper, while you're holding it, left bumper is now space, so that you can rotate. And the left trigger is your right click, so that you can split stuff into smaller stacks. Uh, Pretty much same controls for your pause menu. And the one thing I did change on the default walking around controls is I changed the right stick from the right stick to a mouse. The reason I did that is because in the PC version of DayZ, even though it does have a little bit of controller support, it doesn't let you adjust your sensitivity on a controller, only on mouse. So by doing that, everything else shows up as an Xbox controller except for that right stick. But the right click is still a right click on your right stick. But now you can actually go in here and change your sensitivity to how you want it. That way I can be turning pretty fast like this, and then it slows down when I aim, so I can try to get some more accurate shots. And the way I figured, if you open up the pause menu and then use your right trigger, click continue to go out, that action set layer for pause menu is still active. But it's set so that no matter what action set layer you have active, as soon as you press circle or B, it goes back to the default, which anytime I pause the game or open the inventory, I go back with B anyways. So again, that doesn't really bother me, but if you're in like a deathmatch server and you die, press pause and click respawn. Just do that real quick and your controls are back to how they're supposed to be. For NVGs, those are mapped to L on the keyboard. So I ran out of buttons for that. And so I just made it so, just like with the hotbar, how when you hold R, the right bumper, it makes the D-pad 1 through 4. While holding the right bumper, it'll also make start button L. So you can just hold that for a second to activate your NVG. And the select button is M key for maps for, certain community servers. And that's about it for the Xbox controls that I can remember at least. Alright, so with the PlayStation controller, there's a lot more you can actually do with it. The PlayStation controller, in my case, I'm using a Dualsense Edge, but I set this up to work without the extra paddles. With the DualSense, what it has over the Xbox controller on this game is that you have a touchpad, which Steam splits into three parts, and each of those parts have their own button behind it to click. So my controls for this is the same as what I set up for the Xbox controller, except there's no action layer set to the right bumper. So instead of my D-pad being how I do hotbar, I just lay my finger on the right side of the touchpad, move to one of these numbers. So in this case 3, and I just click in. And then for NVG's map, and then some servers have the earplugs right here. I can pretty much just map whatever I want to these. I don't have a map or NVGs in this server, but that's how you do it. Um, if you wanted to use gyro aiming, you just go make a action set layer for when you're holding the left trigger, and then have it so that while you're holding the left trigger, the gyro becomes mouse control. I don't have it set up. I tried. I suck with gyro aiming. I'm better with just this. But some people out there are real good with it. So it's worth doing if you like gyro. And all the rest of the controls is the same as how I set up for Xbox. So still right trigger drags, left bumper rotates, left trigger split stuff. One thing I did forget to mention when I was going over the Xbox controls, uh, when you have these layers active, your D-pad up and down is scroll. So going through your inventory, you just D-pad down and up. That's pretty much all there is for this. You can map so much in these radial menus. For these menus to work, you have to have the Steam in-game overlay enabled. So if you ever want to map more stuff for a community server you may be in, you go into Steam input and add it to a menu. You could put a menu inside of a menu. I didn't go that far with it, but you can.